haber or tener. In this video, we're going to be learning the difference between these two Spanish verbs that both mean to have in English, but in Spanish they have two very different meanings and very different contexts as to when you would use haber or tener. Before we get started, if you are new to my channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you can see new videos as soon as they come out on my channel. Alright, let's get started with haber and tener. Alright, so we are going to start with the verb haber. So this means to have. So this word you may have heard as hay or había or something like that, saying there is, there was, there were in English. So it's more of a general existence of having something rather than physically having something. For example, ya te lo he dicho. So in this example, I already told you, or I have already told you, the have is not that you have something, that you own something, but rather that this has already occurred, that it already exists. What you said is already out there. Ya te lo he dicho. Or you could say, hubo un poco de silencio. There was a little silence. So there was, that is what exists. That is our verb haber. Hubo un poco de silencio. Or you could say, el perro se había ido. The dog was gone. So the había, that is your verb haber, and you're referring to a state of whether the dog is there or not, and he has already gone. El perro se había ido. Next, we're going to look at the verb tener, and I want you to think of this verb as you have something, whether it's physical, whether it's in your mind, something that you own, even if it's not physical, something that you own. For example, you could say los tuve en la mano. I had them in my hand. So this is something that you can hold, something that you had in your hand, in your possession. So whenever you have the verb tener, you can usually substitute it for possess, and it should mean close to the same thing. Los tuve en la mano. Or you could say, es algo que tendríamos que haber previsto, pero ya es demasiado tarde. It's something that we should have foreseen, but it's too late. So this example, you actually have the verb tener and the verb haber in it, but we're going to be looking just at the verb tener here. So tendríamos, that is our verb tener, and it's being used as should have. And then previsto, that is being used with the verb haber, and it's kind of a weird example because they're a little bit combined in the English version of it, but I like the Spanish version of it because you can see the verb tener, and then haber previsto, you can see that it is something that has been seen, like you can see there in that part of the sentence that that's the existence of what has been foreseen, whereas the tendríamos, it translates into just should have. So it's something that should have been, and that something that should have been is lo que haber previsto. So it's what has been foreseen. So try to kind of wrap your head around this one. And don't worry too much if it's a little complicated. It's good just to see these words in different contexts so that you can recognize them, and then eventually you can start to practice them more and become more familiar and more comfortable with using them in this way. Es algo que tendríamos que haber previsto, pero ya es demasiado tarde. And one final example with tener. Bueno, tengo que irme. Well, I have to go. So this have, it's more of to need something, to need to go, but it's not an existence of something like the verb haber is. So here we're looking at bueno, tengo que irme, and our verb tener, tengo, is telling us that I have a need to go. Bueno, tengo que irme. So in trying to understand haber and tener, think of haber as something more general, something that just exists. Think of it as the English translation of there is and there are. And then think of tener as a more literal translation for have. So you have like to physically have something, to possess something, or to need something more physical and more concrete. Alright, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to give it a thumbs up. I will see you guys back here next time. Ciao!